So something for nothing. Reward without effort. Same thing, right? How many people do you know will make promises and they won't even so much as apologize for not pushing forth the effort in doing so? Broken promises. You know, I grew up with this. People making promises and they knew that they were not going to do it. They were not going to carry it out. So when you see a pattern in your childhood, you can identify with it when they become adults, because later on you see it and you're able to almost review it as though it just happened yesterday. You're supposed to learn certain lessons by observing so that you don't have to worry about trusting when you should not be trusting. You know, a journalist will take information from an individual, post it in the paper, and you will almost feel as though you might know that person, only because you're still reviewing the lesson. You're observing the lesson again and again by people just being people. If you're not being paid to do it, why should you do it? You should do it because your name is on it. Your brand is on it. A man is known by his worth. What is his worth if you cannot believe the words that come out of his mouth? We all, from time to time, will find ourselves in different situations. But it's important, if you continue to see the same repeated actions, that you separate yourself from that person and call it void. That relationship is void. You're no longer going to be disillusioned by a person's actions or tactics when you know good and well that they don't mean you well. You know what you stand for. And if you affiliate yourself with someone who is not standing for or having standards, then you now are considered that individual's company, and people are now placing you with that same individual. You see, there's a lot of people who play games. You better peep that game so that you don't find yourself affiliated under the same title as that other individual. That's why I separated myself from certain individuals. And that's why when you notice certain patterns, you have to separate. That is to keep your own peace of mind. That is to support your own lineage in some cases. And that's also a standard to live by, your own standards. Sometimes you're going to have to be solo. Sometimes you're going to have to walk in your own independence because other people don't represent the same thing you represent. And we are all different individuals, right? While we're different individuals, we're also standing in our own command. You have to be the leader of your own army sometimes. So when we look at individuals, we have to say, okay, those individuals are standing in their own way because they know that they're not standing by anything good when they know the truth. A man is not loyal to his woman because he has another man behind the scenes that he's being loyal to. He's also has a relationship with a judge, the same judge who has his hands that are dirty. And while he's sleeping and playing camp with all these different people, they're all sharing that same energy. You feel his energy before he even comes into the room because you know that his energy is dirty. You hang around a certain group of people, you become them. This is why you have to watch your association. I might walk down the street and someone says hello, and I respectfully say hello back. Because some people, when you don't speak, they decide they want to get loud in the street. And that's another reason why certain neighborhoods you might want to avoid. You know, I was in Key West. Was it last weekend? A couple weekends ago. A little bit of time ago. And I'm in Key West, and someone decides that they want to pay the bus driver to pass my stop. No problem. I had to wait longer. So I end up going to a store, and they have a seated area. I sit in the seated area. And there's a man sitting in the darkness with a machete. And he's sitting in the dark. Again, you sense the energy before you see the person. Other guys come and they sit and they talk, practicing my Spanish a little bit. One is from the town that I'm from. The other one is from there. Conversations go on, and as you exchange conversation, you pick up on certain energy again, and you see who sent them. You sense the people who sent them, because their energy is now a part of this whole environment. It's time that we start observing individuals and sense that energy. Then you know who sent them, and you know where they came from. You start picking up on so much more. It's like when you date a person. If a person has been in a relationship for any length of time, and now they say they're ready for a new relationship, and they've not taken that pause, they've not taken that time to themselves to allow themselves to release the past person's energy. Now you're sitting in that same energy. There's a third party in the room, yet that you don't see their body, but their energy is still there. The person now speaks, and although they don't say the person's name, you figure that that person is still in that conversation. Third party energy will come up every time when a person is unhealed. When you're on your own healing energy, you start picking up on certain things that you ordinarily would not pick up on, because you're healing. And that's God's way of showing you different things. Now, why is it that people would follow me all the way to a whole nother county, whole nother area? Because they assume you might be into doing something more. You see, when people are stealing from you, they've stolen inheritances, sat up in court and lied on you. Now, they start sending people to be where you are, hoping that they're going to pick up on some of that conversation, hoping that they're going to learn more than they already know. And they'll have people in uniform that don't even belong in those uniforms, you understand? Fakes. So that you think this person is a police officer, and then you find out that your sister's sleeping with one police officer to get information, and to have that police officer have you followed as well. You see, there's so many people playing different games, but when those games get played back, it hurts them, and they start to cry. Sade sings that song. Is it a crime? Is it a crime that I still love you? Of course, I switched the words up, because I'm not going to say you want a person. You can love your family even when they've done you harm, but you know not to walk in that same circle, because you already know what's there and what can happen, right? You're focused on your focus, doing what it is you're supposed to be doing. Yet the same people continue to send other people into your circumference, trying to be sneaky, trying to be caught. But God shows you the truth every time. So while somebody is sleeping with the enemy and telling all the secrets, spilled too much tea, and now they have to cry in that water that they decided to drown themselves in, because that's what they're doing. Now, I might sound like I'm talking in circles, but the right individuals who come to this stage will know exactly what it is that I'm talking about. If you were doing your meditation and your prayer work, you would not have found yourself in this situation. See, it's important that regardless of what it is that we choose to do, that you pray and you ask for direction. Because without it, you're like my brother and I on that bike, going down that Snake Hill in the Bronx with no brakes. Now, I could have jumped off that bike. He could have jumped off the bike. Either way, we did not find ourselves in front of that truck, all because God directed it. God is the one that protected us. You see, you don't have any more protection because you sold your soul. Now you're trying to take an innocent man and you're trying to manipulate him and throw him off course, telling him all sorts of stories, because you don't want him to be the one to steal the woman that is no longer yours. You see, it's really funny how people will pitch an argument. They will say all sorts of things, speak in circles, when everyone remembers the first story you told. Someone asked you the first time, what happened between you two? And you say, oh man, she played games. Second time you told a different story, that she wasn't a woman at all. You see, you got to keep up with the stories that you tell, because in the end, you're wearing your heart on your sleeve. And all the people in your surroundings caught you slipping. But you still want to keep up this crazy story on how you want to be so spiritual. You're not the only person playing the game. You see, but when a person says they want to be a player, you need to make sure that you consult the teacher. We all think we know more than we know sometimes, because God knows ultimately everything. But if you're going to continue to play the same games and you want to continue to try to play the same people, you better know who you're playing with. You see, I try my hardest to stay focused and do whatever it is that I'm supposed to be doing. But when I have people following me and people thinking that they can continue to play in the same energy, then you have to watch your step. Because I'm not the one ruling this. And when you figure out who's really ruling everything, then you know that you stepped on the wrong toes. So let us keep that in mind as we move forward. And let's stay prayerful. Because at the end of this day, God is leading us. Indigo Moon.